impressive. But we already know what Triple G can do to that level, and we also know Triple G can do to the level above that. And through no fault of his own, we haven't been able to see what he can do to the level above that because they won't get in with him. The only top fighter who seemed willing to get in the ring with Triple G right away has been Andre Ward, who at this point is a light heavyweight and might be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, at least when he's active. He still needs a couple of tune-up fights, it looks like. But otherwise, none of the real top fighters seem to want to fight Triple G, and you see why.
So, with the opportunity of Canelo fight not presenting itself, what would be the next logical step?
Maybe Ramirez at 68.
Is that a challenge?
Well, Ramirez is a good fighter. Triple G would be a huge favorite. Ramirez is just coming off a career-best performance. Also, young fighter in his prime, tall and rangy in the division above Triple G. I mean, you'd like to see Triple G Canelo, but if you can't see that, you want to put him in with other fighters who are marketable, who have good styles, and who are considered better than just contenders.
On the subject of Canelo.
Last one, okay?
Okay, last one on the subject of Canelo. And you see Khan recently, he's looked like he's bulking up.
Of course. Well, how do you think he was going to look? Yeah. Amir Khan showing up to win. Of course, he's the underdog. He's been a little chinny in his career. And Canelo's the bigger, stronger guy and a good counterpuncher. And Canelo's got a good chin. So Canelo's the favorite. You can see that, like, at a certain point, thinking Canelo's got to land something big to turn this around. That's not a scenario that's that far-fetched. It's not an uninteresting fight. The closer you get to it, the more interesting it seems. Kind of like Pacquiao-Bradley, although in the end, a lot of times in those situations, you talk yourself into thinking it's a better fight than it really is, because Pacquiao-Bradley wound up just like the first two. But as that fight approached, at least the more I thought about it, I thought, maybe it's a better fight than I gave it credit for when it was made. And I'm starting to feel that way about Canelo and Khan.
All right, last one. If Khan gets the upset, does he vacate the title, move back down? Does he jump in there, keep it rolling, and fight Golovkin?
I'll tell you exactly what Khan does. He's a prize fighter, and he's always been this way. Khan doesn't duck. Whatever is the biggest fight that can be made for the most money, that's who will fight. But as I said before the fight started, this is the first round of the NBA playoffs. The NBA, you know exactly who's going to win the first round of every series, especially with the top 4 seeds, right? So here's Triple G, and everyone came out to watch Steph Curry, but Kawhi Leonard's not in the other corner because they're not up to that round of the playoffs yet. So until he gets Kawhi Leonard in the other corner, until that time, you're going to know before the fight starts who's going to win. But it doesn't really stop you from watching Steph play, right? So it hasn't stopped people from watching Triple G either.
Did Chocolito show up, and is he ready for Gallo Estrada rematch? Looked like it wasn't.
Yeah, I think Chocolatito would be favored against anyone 115 and below.
What do you think about Inoue?
Inoue is eventually his biggest fight. I don't think they would make that fight yet. If you were handling Inoue, wouldn't you want to wait until Chocolatito's a year or two older and your guy has a year or two more experience? So if I get the sense that if Chocolatito's side thought they could make that fight soon, they would.
Everyone's kind of seeing Canelo Golovkin taking down the same path as Mayweather-Pacquiao, the same scenario of prolonging it, to maximize
I would
the
say this.
potential of the...
Jim asked me on the fight game, what's the expiration date? I mean, there's no real expiration date. We still watched Mayweather-Pacquiao years after the expiration date. But I would say people can genuinely start complaining. If Cinco de Mayo of next year comes and goes and they still haven't fought, then you can start complaining at Canelo. But I do think that if you're Canelo Alvarez and you're generating all this money, and there's the biggest threat by far is still he's a major attraction, obviously, but still hasn't proven a pay-per-view attraction that can do 500,000 buys or more. Obviously, you'd like him to build up a little more, and you'd like maybe to take a few more money fights before you risk it all. And by Canelo, I don't mean Canelo. Canelo doesn't care. I mean Golden Boy, because they're running a business over there, and if you have a meal ticket, you don't just throw him in with a guy who'd be favored to beat him. You'd like that guy who's favored to beat him to build up his star as big as possible. And you'd like your guy, meantime, to cash some paychecks on the way to that happening. So I would say all that is fair game. If you know the history of boxing, that stuff always happens. If that process goes by Cinco de Mayo of next year, then fans have a right to say, yo, you're ducking. That's enough, you're ducking.
He's the